Hey guys, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I've been a bookkeeper for a long time and QuickBooks Online consultant as well as an accountant. I absolutely love what I do, and one of the things that we talk a lot about is QuickBooks or Square integration with QuickBooks Online. So integration in general, but Square is a big one. I have a lot of customers that have restaurants, food truck, or you name it, and they use Square. And they integrate with QuickBooks, and sometimes it works beautifully, especially if it is a simple integration. And sometimes we have a few bumps on the road, a few complications. And there are occasions when Square integration may not work as perfectly, and maybe there may be missing transactions, or transactions are not coming correctly. The more complication you have with Square as far as complexity, let's say if you have Square loans, Square savings, with Square savings sometimes there are business owners that don't necessarily send their transfers on a constant basis, and when they send it, it doesn't reflect all the transaction, the details that you want to have in QuickBooks, and sometimes it doesn't match whatever happened in banking. So when that happens, what do you do? How do you fix that? That's what we're going to talk about. There are occasions when the complexity is so big that it's not worth it to integrate with QuickBooks. We're going to talk about how we fix that, how we adjust that in QuickBooks Online. And without much further ado, we're going to show a little bit of Square today and navigate a little bit through the page. And then we're going to go into QuickBooks Online and show you how we record those transactions. All right. All right. Okay, we're gonna start from the beginning here on our Square. Okay. All right, Square statement. How to reconcile your Square income in QuickBooks Online. We're gonna talk about the Square statement. How do we get the Square statement? So when you log into your QuickBooks Online, you will see on the left hand side home. If for some reason you don't see this left hand side menu, you can click on the three lines on the top left hand side, and then click on reports. The reports will take you to the detailed information of all your sales, all your discounts, refunds, and then taxes if you charge taxes, tips if you charge tips, and then the net sales, or Square fees and net sales. So that information is key for you, because that's what you're gonna need to input into QuickBooks QuickBooks Online, right? All right. So next, if for some reason the integration is working good, not perfect, and then you need to look into a specific transaction. How do you do that? So just to find out the details on the transaction, so you can recreate in QuickBooks. Okay, from the left-hand side menu in Square, you'd click on Balance. That's on the left-hand side, Balance, and then Transfers. And then transfers detail. Okay, and this is what you're gonna get. This is the summary of the transaction. So that's gonna have the gross sales, any kind of discount if there was a discount on this transfer. This is what you need to understand. So we don't want individual transactions. We need the transfer, because the transfer is going to have a lump sum of information on what was sent to you in QuickBooks. And that's what hit your bank account. And that's what you're going to need from Square. All right. Okay, so we have the net sales here, and then we have sales tax, tips, and total collected, and then whatever fee Square charge you. So this is the key information, and this is the 197.73 should be what hit your bank account. But we need all the information here in order to input into QuickBooks Online so we can match in banking. If not, you're not going to match. You're not going to have this information in here. All right. Okay. So I wanted to go back a few slides just to talk about the first page and what it has in there. So obviously we have the menu here with all kinds of information. The one that I use a lot is, if you're looking for a specific transaction, or like I said, it's the balance and transfers, because the transfers will have all the detail, and of course the reports. And on the reports there's different things you can look at, but what you want to look in reports is the total gross sales and the discounts and refunds, which should be the amount on your sales, on your total Square sales, right? All right, so this is the report, by the way. This is the report. So here it's going to show us the gross sales. This is the magic number, and we have the returns and the discounts. But obviously we want to have all this number there. The gross sale 156, 260, 80. The gross sale should contain pretty much everything. It should contain the returns, the discount, like I said, and then the bottom number is going to be your net sales. So that's an important number to have. So continuing on that report, we scroll down, and this is what you're going to have, right? It's got a returns, net sales, and then the total taxes, tips, and this is the information you will need to enter in QuickBooks Online if you are not integrated with QuickBooks and you need that information. Okay, and then finally we have the amount that was paid in cash, the amount that was paid in credit card if there was any gift card or any other income, and the Square fees, which is also very important. You need to enter as an expense, right? So how do you do that, Claudia? Okay, and this is the final one if you want a specific one. Okay, so this is Square. So this is the information you will need in order to enter in QuickBooks. And now we're gonna go into QuickBooks. All right. All right. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay, here we are in QuickBooks, and what we're looking for in QuickBooks is your profit and loss, to be able to look at what is recorded in QuickBooks. To find profit and loss, on the left hand side you click on reports, and profit and loss, in my case it is always as favorite, right on the top. Okay, and then you want to change the date to whatever date you're looking for. So let's suppose you can actually type the specific date. I like to do it by month, by the way, because this way it gives me an idea of what's going on with the business on a monthly basis. A lot of people think, oh, I just need my books ready for my accountant, for my CPA, so I can file the taxes. And I'll say, oh, you are not taking advantage of all the features in QuickBooks, which, features are more important to you than just having everything ready for your CPA. Of course, it's good to have accurate books for your CPA, but it's also good to have your accurate books for understanding your business and know what's going on, especially right now. Like I said, I have a lot of restaurant business, and a lot of them are having quite a few challenges with food price and with labor price. Everything, is inflation. Everything is impacting the restaurant business quite a bit. So, but I know that a lot of my clients are working really hard to overcome those bumps. And the first thing you need to do in order to overcome those bumps, overcome those challenges, is to understand your business. And you understand your business by having accurate financials, right? So you want to look at your profit and loss. And of course, we talk about in the past with the integration that you do need to have specific accounts in Square in order to make this work. And one of them is Square Income, which would track all your income coming from Square. And I also mentioned in the past that if you're integrating with Square, you want to keep it as simplified as possible. I do not track individual clients from Square if it is small transactions. If you have like big ticket numbers, big price tickets, and it's a small amount of transactions, then it's okay. You can track it by clients or by so that you can track your specific clients from QuickBooks. That's great. But if you don't, keep in mind you have all that information in Square. And you can look at that specific information in Square and just bring to QuickBooks all Square income as a lump sum every day, not individual transactions. When you integrate and you put individual transactions and you have small transactions, it is a nightmare. You will not like it. It's unless you have just a very, very few transactions a day, it's really hard to match in QuickBooks. Okay, so anyhow, enough of that. So we're looking at Square income, and then we're gonna compare that into that gross income from Square and make sure that information is correct. If there's any discount refunds, that should be here as well. And we're gonna look into Square fees. We want to make sure that Square fees is matching whatever we have in QuickBooks. So the next thing, once we know whatever is not correct, we're going to do a journal entry. So on the left-hand side, click on the plus new, and then journal entry. And what we want here is to make sure that the date is correct. So like I said, usually I like to do it by month, to stay up to date with everything and to know what's going on month to month. Especially, like I said, with the restaurant, there is ups and downs. There's months that are busier. So we want to make sure that we understand what months are the busiest and what months you make the most money. If there is, high labor costs, you want to track that to see what's going on month to month. How is it impacting your bottom line, right? That's the important part. Okay, so first account we want to address here is Square income. So we're gonna put the difference in Square income. Okay, so now income, in order to increase income, you're gonna credit. And in order to lower income, you're going to debit, whatever the difference, right? If it is different, if it is duplicated Square income, you're going to debit because whatever is coming is not coming correctly, is not accounting for certain fees. So if you want to take away, you're going to debit. If you want to add it, you want to credit. Right, this is at the end of the month. If you have integration, there is a little difference there for whatever reason, especially if you have third party apps integrated with Square, such as Grubhub, Uber Eats, or any kind of other third party that pays you directly, but it is connected with Square. The numbers that Square is giving you include those sales, but those sales are being paid directly from the third-party app, and it does not include the third app fees. So that creates a discrepancy in QuickBooks. For those transactions, I actually do not add them into QuickBooks, and I recreate the difference in QuickBooks. So I think we talk about that on another video where we actually go into the third party deposit, and we add whatever difference we have on that specific deposit. We can talk about that on a different video as well and go over a little more details. But this is the difference. So we are looking at the total. Everything was entered, but there is a little difference, right? And so let's suppose that we need to add about $300 or square income, and that is due to a few things that was not accounted for. Let's suppose square fees. Let's suppose that now, in order, it's kind of interesting, to increase square income, you credit, but to increase square fees, you're gonna debit, okay, because it's an expense. Income, you credit to increase. Expenses, you debit to increase. So let's suppose that I have to account for $100 of square fees. We also have a difference in taxes. Oh, and it's tax payable. Okay. And let's suppose that it's another, let's say $150. And so we have $250. And then the remaining difference was a difference in tips, right? Tips payable, $50. So this should add to my profit and loss $300 into square income, and it should account for square fees, my taxes that was not recorded for whatever reason, just a difference in taxes, not the total thing, and the difference in tips. So this is an adjustment so that I can get to what is in square, because whatever you have in QuickBooks Online for square incomes and discount, here you could add also discount. Let's suppose that instead of tips, this is discounts and refunds, right? Interesting enough, discount is an income account, and it's going to be a negative amount on income because it's going to reflect deduction to your income, right? So it is a debit and it's going to be a negative amount because it will deduct from your total income. So there's no tips. We're going to do it on the square income. So there you have it. Right? So there's two accounts here. There's one account here that's going to go into your balance sheet, which is the sales tax payable, and the square fees, and this discount income or refunds, if whatever account you have, that's going to go to your profit and loss. So balance sheet and then profit and loss. Okay. All right. So you would save this. And now we're going to take a look at the profit and loss. And we're going to put a specific date as far as January. And we're going to see those transactions in there. January 1st through the 31st. Okay. All right, so look at this. This is the information we just added. We have the income, the discount income, and we increase our square income by the entry. If you click on the number, okay, square income, it's going to give you all the details from whatever income you had. And wherever you see journal entry, you can click on the number. It's going to open up that transaction that we just entered, all the details. So we increased the income by $300. We added fees, square fees, by $100, and then we added this part we're not going to be able to see in the profit and loss. I'm going to show you in the balance sheet, and the discount income showing up here as well on the balance on the profit and loss. Okay, so this is how you see the details. If you scroll down, you're going to see square fees. You want to click on the total and look at this. It's going to show up here, that journal entry as well. You can click on it and you can see the details. All right. Okay, so this is how you account for differences when you do have an integration, right? When you do have an integration, but the numbers are not perfect. Now, if there is no integration, the principle is the same. So you're still going to go into the journal entry. Okay. Oh, by the way, little tip here If you need to modify a journal entry, you just made it a little while ago, you can click on the plus new, go to journal entry, and then click on the counter clock. By the way, if you've seen my videos, I use this counter clock to pretty much every single transaction because it can take us back quickly. It's kind of a shortcut, take you back to the most recent transaction, either sales, invoice, whatever you're entering, right? So the difference in here is that you want to reflect on this journal entry, whatever happened with in your QuickBooks or in your bank transactions. Now, in this case, you want to use the transfer information for each of the transactions. If you don't have any information as far as integration, so no integration whatsoever, no information coming from Square, so you're gonna add all the information that you can find on that transactions, or not transaction, I'm sorry, on the transfer. So I show you the slide. If you want to go back, you want to go into the left hand side menu in Square, you want to click on balance, you want to click on transfer, you want to go to specific transfers, and you want to put the date of the transfer you're looking for, and then you want to click on the arrow to open up that transfer. And once you open up that transfer, there's going to be all the information. Okay, so let's suppose that the transfer was for $300, and the information you're going to find there is discount. So if there was discount, you're going to find the Square fees, sales tax, and if there is any tips, you want to add tips. Whatever is on that transaction, you need to enter in this journal. So all the details for that. And the bottom line, the Square income, the bottom line is going to be where this money is going to, which should be your bank account. So the net deposit, which is going to be a debit here to your bank account, needs to match whatever happened in the bank. So let's suppose that you had a deposit for $1,000, right? And Square fees were $30. Okay. You have sales tax, let's see, $70. Discount $50. There's no tips, and the total amount that was deposited or transferred into account was $850. Now, if you have more complication, such as you're paying a Square loan, then you can put Square loan in here. Square loan, don't have it, loan payment. Okay, Square loan payment. Let's suppose the Square loan payment is for $50, and let's suppose you have Square savings. You're gonna put Square savings in here, and then you're gonna put whatever amount went into Square savings, and then the bottom line has to be whatever went to your bank account. So now keep in mind that this money here, this $800, needs to match exactly what was deposited in banking, and you need to enter this before you add the transaction in banking, because this is what you're gonna match into banking. Remember, you're entering this transaction. If it doesn't match and you just add the transaction from bank as income, you're duplicating that income. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that if you're entering this individual transaction or this individual transfer to be matched in banking, this number needs to be exact, and you need to be able to match it in banking. Okay, all right, so this is the important thing here. So once you get into that, I'm not gonna save any of that, but what you're gonna do is go, if you are entering the individual transaction transfer, you're gonna go into banking, and then you're gonna find that transaction. If it is already categorized, you can click on categorize, and you can click on the specific date. Let's suppose you're looking into a transfer that happened in January. You're going to look at that specific date. You can put the exact date here. And I use that a lot, by the way. Those filters are a lifesaver. Apply and then I'm gonna look straight into that transaction. Okay, and you can undo. If it says added, means that it's not matched to anything. You want to undo, bring it back to for review so you can match it with the transaction that you just entered. Okay, this is key to have your information correct one by one, right? Now, if you use a clearance account, like a Square bank account, what you're gonna do, you can actually transfer any kind of transaction that is coming through your bank. Instead of recording it as a sale, you want to make sure that you record it as you want to record it as a transfer into the Square bank, because Square bank is a clearance account, and at the end of the day is going to be zero out, right? So you're gonna record everything as a transfer, and then you're gonna do a journal entry to zero out that account at the end of the month. So, and when you record the journal entry, you're gonna follow the steps that I just showed you. You're gonna put the total sales, all the deductions, and the bottom line should be the deposit into Square bank. So that's how it works. That's how you would get the exact amount and zero out the account in Square bank. Of course, if you're recording transfer from Square bank into your bank account, is going to be deducting money from your your Square bank, and you're going to see it as a negative amount. But once you record the deposit, the negative amount should be brought to zero difference. That's how it works, right? That's how we balance out. So the reason why we would use a clearance Square bank is so that we're not going to clutter our bank account, because you don't want to record anything on your bank account that did not happen, because when you try to reconcile that, it's not going to match, right? It's not going to work out. All right, so why don't you show to you how to record a transfer. All right, into a Square clearance account. So see this money, 380. Instead of recording it as income, I would record it as Square bank. See that? Square bank. It has to be Square bank, not Square income or anything. Square bank. And this is gonna record into Square bank. So let's do this one. And this number is 380.57. We're just gonna recreate the numbers here. So this is how Square bank is gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna add this transaction in Square bank. Okay, it's a transfer, by the way. So if you go into Square bank here, you're gonna see that as a deduction, right? So now I'm gonna duplicate my page. I love to duplicate the page. So you want to bring your mouse all the way to the top, right click it, click on duplicate, and you're gonna be able to work in two different pages. And here I'm gonna enter my journal entry. This was for September 30th, and I already look. I'm not looking for details. I look into my Square. This is the steps. I went to Square. I click on balance. I click on transfer details, and I put the specific date of this transfer, and then I want to look at the details. So the total sales, let's suppose here that Square income for this was oh, by the way, Square income goes as a credit, $450, right? So we need to get to that 380.57, which is right here. 380.57. Okay. The first thing we're gonna record here would be Square fees. It's gonna be a debit, so it's gonna take away from the money deposit. Let's suppose that Square fees, let's see, was $13. Okay. Okay, now have 400. So let's put the deduction here. And then there was some discount. For another $17. And then what else? So we have $30 here, 420. Then we have sales tax. I'm just gonna put numbers, guys. This is not like I said, it's not, those are not specific numbers here. So suppose that this is $20. And then I have tips. Now tips is gonna go to the balance sheet, by the way. And the tips is going to be, let's get a calculator here. I need to find, obviously, like I said, I would have those numbers in specifically in the transaction that I send, right? But here I'm just making up numbers. So right now I'm at $400 minus 380.57 means I have $19.43 of tips. And then finally, I deposit this money into the Square Bank, right? Because keep in mind, I'm recording everything into, I'm transferring all the money from Square into my bank account, and from Square here I'm creating the deposit going into Square Bank, so that it can zero out, okay, that transaction. So we're gonna save here, and you're gonna see what happens. So this is Square Bank here. Sorry, back here. Okay, my microphone just turned off here. All right, so we saved this transaction. All right, we're gonna X out of here, and look at this. Okay, so we have the deposit for $380.57, and then we have the payment, which was actually a transfer from Square. So this two transaction will zero each other out. So this is how you record a transaction, or how to create all the transactions from Square if you're not integrated, or if there is a missing transaction that didn't come through Square. Now be careful when you're doing that. Now this is if you have a Square clearance account, because if you don't have a Square clearance account, you would record this straight into the bank account. So instead of here, if I didn't have the clearance account, I'm gonna undo this. By the way, I'm gonna go into transfer first, click on edit. If you click on the top left hand side, you're gonna see one online banking match. That's gonna, if you click on unmatch here, it's gonna bring it from review to for review again. So then I'm gonna delete this transaction because I don't want to duplicate it, and it's back to for review, so I can categorize that correctly. And then if I didn't have the clearance account in here, instead of Square Bank, I would send it to my bank account. I would send it straight into the checking account. Okay, so I'd save that. And then if I go into banking, when I unmatched that transaction, it brought it back to for review and in my bank account. See that? So now it's matching to a journal entry. So it does the same thing, except that this is going to be recorded straight into my bank account without a clearance account. So we would just match. When you reconcile, you're going to see all the details of this transaction. So there's not just the money coming in, you're counting for every single expense, or everything detail on that transaction. All right. Okay. Hopefully this was useful to you. Just to understand, if you need more help, and if you need a one-on-one tutorial, feel free to contact us. You can hire us to specifically go into your company, see what's going on, and help you clean up or we can do the work for you so you can focus on what you do best, and we can take care of your books for you. So you can have those numbers. One thing that is interesting is that some people say, oh, but I cannot afford a good bookkeeper or an accountant to keep my books. I got to do it myself. But you know what? I say you cannot afford not to have a good bookkeeper to keep your books up to date, because you don't know what's going on with your books. You don't know how you're walking in the dark. You don't know what's your point of reference, what to do in order to grow your business. When you do have all that information, it enables you to know what is the next step to take. Paying too much for insurance, and it's taking a big chunk of your income and maybe even bringing you to the negative. I have clients that, after all the insurance increases, they had to reevaluate and be able to readjust their expense so that they can, come back to profitability and grow more than just come back to profitability, grow their business, thrive even in tough economy. And I had another client that I did the cleanup, and there was several transactions that was not matching in banking, all sitting on undeposited funds. And later he found out that all these payments throughout the year never went through his bank account, never got approved. So he was able to contact his client and say, oh, can you verify if it was charged? And it wasn't charged, and the client approved to charge it from his credit card. And basically he was missing out on income that he had thought before that it was there, but it wasn't. It just was recorded, but it wasn't deposited in his bank. It wasn't, and this has happened several times. I was able to find this several times. So if you think that you can't afford a bookkeeper, I'd say you cannot afford not to have a good bookkeeper unless you are keeping your books up to date and being able to just go and have your financials up to date, so you can take the necessary steps to grow your business. So that's key information. Like I said, keeping your books up to date is not just because you need to give it to your CPA at the end of the year, but it's for your own benefit to be able to run your business the most efficient way. I wanted to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We bring content like that pretty much every week. This week we're a little late because of the hurricane here in Florida. Luckily we are good. We were dry and safe, and no damage to our property, so that's great. But unfortunately, to many of our Floridian friends, there were a lot of losses, and we pray for them, and we'll be able to hopefully help some of those people in the coming days, and help recover Florida and bring it back to what we know. So for our friends in Fort Myers who lost so much, our prayers and our thoughts are with you, and in the coming days hopefully we'll be able to assist in some way, somehow. Thanks for watching this video. We hope to see you again soon. Hopefully soon in a few days. But until next time, keep on smiling.